Hello everybody. Welcome to a brand new video provided to you by yours truly, Blitzball Champ. Today, I wanted to talk about the end of the Ron Rivera era as the Carolina Panthers head coach. So, let's get right into it. Ron Rivera was the Carolina Panthers head coach from 2011 to 2019. He just recently got fired after the loss to the Washington Redskins last week. Um, there's been a lot of buzz going on with this, and I just really wanted to give my thoughts on this. So let's look at Ron Rivera's tenure with Carolina Panthers. Led the Carolina Panthers to three straight NFC South championships. He has won one NFC championship and has a Super Bowl appearance, Super Bowl 50, two NFL Coach of the Year awards. Overall, he finished. He has a record of 76. Head coaching record is 76 and 63 and 1. All with the Carolina Panthers. So I have to say this. Definitely out of all the coaches that Carolina has had in franchise history, this is definitely the best one. You know, he's had the most wins, and, you know, I feel like he's done the most with this franchise. Did I have a feeling that he was going to eventually get fired? Yes, but I would have thought that they would have waited. I really would have thought that David Tepper would have waited until the end of the season to let him go. So there's a lot of mixed opinions about that, but I really felt like it was time. You know, Coach Rivera, he's had plenty of chances. You know, he's done well with Carolina. Don't get me wrong. I like the guy. I really do. It's unfortunate that it came down to this, but you know, as Mr. Tepper said, he's not going to settle for mediocrity. You know, this is a whole different owner than Jerry Richardson. You know, this we have an owner now that wants to win and wants to do whatever necessary for this franchise to finally win a Super Bowl and many more. So, I mean, I wasn't really convinced that, you know, this was somebody that David Tepper was going to end up keeping long term after he arrived, after he bought the Panthers. But I mean, just looking at it, it's real unfortunate that it came down to this being what the Panthers are dealing with this season, you know, especially after the loss of Cam Newton, injury plague season, and just, you know, pretty much out of playoff chance. Um, I will say this going forward, I have no doubt in my mind that Coach Rivera will get picked up somewhere else sooner than you think. I have no doubt. I think he's a pretty good coach, and I feel like he can definitely be successful anywhere else just as much as Carolina. You know, he's done a lot for this team, and I just wish him the best. I really do. I wish him the best, and I just hope that he'll be able to continue coaching ASAP. I mean, it was one of the things he said in his press conference. He really took a lot of pride in his time at Carolina. And if it's one thing that I can appreciate about David Tepper, despite firing him, is the fact that he let him know face to face what was going to happen. He didn't try to look for coaches behind his back or do any sort of research or anything behind his back. You know, he was plain and clear with Ron Rivera, and I feel like, as unfortunate as it was, there's still a high amount of respect there. So I gotta at least give them credit for that. Because at the end of the day, it is a business, and you know, I really have a feeling that David Tepper is gonna do what he can to really put this franchise in better position to hopefully win some titles. You know, it's apparently obvious that he cares about the fans, knows what the fans want. So that's a big, big deal. Um, so to finish out this season, secondary coach Perry Thelwell got promoted to interim head coach. Norv Turner will pretty much be assisting him. He'll be like his assistant coach, and his son Scott Turner is bumped up to offensive coordinator, who was originally the quarterbacks coach. So this will be really interesting. Um, David Tepper is giving these guys a chance. There's only what 4 games left. I mean, we still got the Falcons. Still got to play the Saints. Saints is the last game of the season. Still got to play the Colts and the Seahawks. So I mean, they pretty much got 4 games to show what they can do and try to make a case for them to stay and potentially keep their new jobs. Um, I have my doubts about Perry Thelwell, being that he was the secondary coach, and our secondary really hasn't been doing too good. Aside from Trey Boston and James Bradbury, secondary really hasn't been doing that good. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Uh, do I feel that he'll be head coach uh for next season? Doubt it. But hey, Carolina has had a history of promoting people within the staff. So, it's not out of the question, but it's really going to come down to how these last 4 games are. I mean, you know, if we somehow happen to win, you know, 2 out of 4, you know, I don't think it'll be that big of an impact, but who knows? It's really going to depend on a few things. Um, but it's definitely apparent that this is just the start. I don't think the firing of Ron Rivera will be all the changes that'll be happening. Um, Norv Turner, honestly, I'm at the point where Norv Turner to me is a big name, but really hasn't been showing it so far. Really has not been showing it with the play calling. And I know a big part of it is, an unhealthy offensive line that hasn't really helped, but just, he really hasn't been living up to his name. So who knows if he's even going to be the offensive coordinator going into next season. Scott Turner, his son, I really hope that, he kind of, you know, opens up the playbook and really gets creative and really kind of takes charge. You know, Hopefully, there won't be so much influence from his father, but we'll have to see how that goes. But and also Marty Herney. Don't get me wrong. In the previous offseason, he's made some good moves, but didn't really do anything impactful leading up to the trade deadline, and that was a disappointment. That was a really that was a big disappointment. So I mean, if anything, maybe Marty Herney will still have his job going into next season, but I just there's a lot of work to be done. And I think David Tepper has the right mindset, and I really feel like he's going to do some big changes for this franchise to put this franchise in a better position. Now, it may take some time for it to really blossom. It may take a season or two, but I don't think it'll be too long before Carolina will get back on track. And another thing it's going to come down to is the state of Cam Newton. So it's been reported that he is going to proceed with getting the foot surgery. And I don't really know what kind of recovery or what kind of steps that need to be taken to really recover from a Liz Frank foot sprain. But if he gets the surgery now, maybe hopefully he could be ready by training camp. Don't know. Like I said, I'm no doctor. I really don't know how long something like this would take. But maybe if he can come back before by the time for training camp, that would be awesome. But if anything, he needs to go ahead and do it and go ahead and start his recovery ASAP if he's going to do the surgery. Um, Now, and of course, that also comes down to, is Carolina going to keep him or is Carolina going to let him go? Honestly, many may say that, with the firing of Ron Rivera, Cam will probably be next. I don't know. I hope not, because I do like Cam, and I'm all for him getting another shot, healthy, to come back healthy and try to make an impact. But we'll just have to see what happens. You know, it's going to be interesting. This off season is going to be interesting, regardless of how these four remaining games will go. It's going to be interesting how this off season goes for Carolina because there's a lot of decisions that are going to be have to be made. I mean, I believe James Bradbury, I believe becomes a free agent. Shaq Thompson, I believe, becomes a free agent. There's no telling if Greg Olson will even come back. I mean, after the concussion, after the bad hit that he took, and he's getting up there in age. I think he's what 34 or 35. I honestly don't see Greg Olson coming back next year. I don't. I think he's going to call it quits. So yeah, there's a lot of one year contracts. I mean, Gerald McCoy. I mean, don't know if we're going to keep him. It's just it's a lot of decisions, a lot of decisions that are have going to have to be made, and it's going to be an interesting off season. That's all I can say about that. But as far as Coach Ron Rivera, the Riverboat Ron Rivera era is over. Um, Gonna miss him. Like I said, I liked him as our coach, and I have no doubt that some team will scoop him up. I have no doubt. I think he still has a lot of coaching left to do, and I feel like he'll be an ideal candidate for another team out there that's in desperate need of a new coach. But I do wish him and his family the best, and I hope things work out for them very, 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 very soon. But yeah, so let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think should happen. Going into the off season, what kind of changes do y'all feel should take place for this team to get back on track going into next season? If anything, I know for me personally, come draft time, free agency time, I think the main priorities gonna be offensive line, defensive line, secondary. Those are my big three. Offensive line, defensive line, secondary. I think those three should be the main priorities. I really do. I think those three should be the main priorities to concentrate on in the off season because we need an offensive line. We need a stable, strong, consistent offensive line. This 3-4 defense, I really don't like it because we ended up sacrificing run defense in order to better the pass rush, which the pass rush isn't bad, but we really sacrificed the entire run defense with this 3-4. I think the personnel should change to suit 4-3 because I've never been a fan of 3-4. I've really never been a fan of it. So I don't know. That's my take on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think, and thank you so much for watching. Take care and have a blessed day. Blitzball Champ out.